Welcome to the Wandering Road, a place where the unseen moves all around us. The stories you'll hear aren't just whispered legends. They're shadows that cling, footsteps that follow, and whispers that never fade. Every turn pulls you closer to the unknown, and once you've heard what waits here, the night will never feel the same again.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Wandering Road podcast. I'm your host Chris, alongside my co-host Dean, and back, just like we promised, for a part 2 is Bekah from ThirdeyeBekah. Welcome back to the show, Bekah.
What's up?
Thank you for coming back. I think we had a pretty good show last time. We had some creepy stories from you. Unfortunately, Dean had to drop a little early, so for this episode, you guys might hear a little less from me and a little bit more from Dean. If you're watching this episode, I'm not wearing this hood because I'm like pissed off or anything. I am in my game room and it is 4 degrees in Pennsylvania and it is fucking freezing. Becca's in Pennsylvania too, so
Yeah, it's freezing.
been dealing with a lot of cold and shoveling snow. Mr. Hawaii over here, so
yeah. Oh, it's 65 degrees. To be fair, hold on. I did grow up in Western Pennsylvania for many years, so I did suffer through the cold for quite a while. But I do miss it a little bit sporadically. Not what you guys are going through, but like, walking outside and having it be brisk. But living here for as long as I have, my body has shifted to being ultra sensitive to cold now. And it's currently, we are also going through a cold snap with the rest of the US, which is really weird right now. The fact that we're a lot of us are going through the same thing, but it's been consistently in like the upper 50s, low 60s in the morning, which if you live here and you're used to like 75, 80 degree weather, it's pretty, it's pretty chilly.
I'm jealous still. I'm not a cold person.
I did have to drop early last time, so I apologize for that, but I'm not sure what you guys went into in depth at that point, so we'll try not to revisit anything too much for the viewers and the listeners. I think the best thing to do is just to toss it over to you, Bekah. Like, do you have anything that you didn't maybe finish addressing or talking about last time, or something new that you want to talk about that we can kind of spin off of? We'd love to hear more of your personal experiences.
Yeah, I know there's like so much craziness and like negativity going on in the world right now, so maybe we like talk about something positive. I've definitely had some positive experiences like in my home recently, so if that's fine with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually we like getting positive stuff every once in a while because we talk about dark stuff so much, and it's nice to hear weird supernatural things that are positive. So yeah, I can't wait to hear that.
A couple months ago, got this little doorbell like on it's a little bell and it like clips right to your front door. So if you open it, it's supposed to like basically be like a singing bell and help with like bringing in good energy and positive energy. And it's some people like refer to bells as like a form of spirit communication. So me being me, I'm like, all right, I'm getting this for the front door. So I got one on the front door and like periodically we started to like hear it dinging, but we're all upstairs, which was like super weird. So we were trying to like make it go off, like walking heavily up and down the steps, someone going outside, trying to like, jump up and down. Nothing would make this bell go off. And we're like, this is really weird. So we started to like pay attention to it. And then we noticed every time the bell went off, it was like literally a warning for something that was about to happen. Like I had to get up at 7:00 in the morning for a doctor's appointment and my phone died because I didn't plug it in. And I forgot to obviously plug it in, so my alarm never went off. So we hear the bell go off and we're sleeping. We're like, who the hell? It just opened our front door. So we run down there. The door is dead bolted. The bottom lock is locked. Like, what the hell? We're like, okay, that's really weird. Like how that just went off and you had to wake up for your doctor's appointment. I'm like, okay, strange. Then we had a candle by the front door and it was getting like so hot, like super hot. And the wall started to get like scorching hot. And it was at the point where it had like barely any liquid in the bottom of it. And sometimes when the glass just gets hot, like we were afraid it was going to explode, we hear the doorbell go off again and we're up here and we run down there. Same thing, doors locked, nothing. There's literally nothing. The dogs are upstairs with us. Like no one in the house is down there. We're like, this is so weird. So we like blow the candle out. then it went off for another reason, and it was like something crazy, and I can't even remember. But it's just like that started happening. Then my neighbor like comes over and she's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know the woman that used to live in your house, she passed away." And I was like, "Oh, that's really crazy." She was like, "Please forgive me. I forgot if she was in the I think she was in the army. I can't remember, but she was in Guam and she had passed away while she was in Guam. And the military had came to her house to deliver her a letter saying that she had passed away because she was her emergency contact." And then we like started putting two and two together. We're like, okay, this started happening literally when she passed away in August. And then the bell just started ringing on and off. Like, and I'm like, okay, I wonder if that was like her way of like, hey, get up. You're gonna miss your doctor's appointment. Your candle's gonna explode. Like that's where our minds kind of went. And then there were like a few other like little things. Like we would hear like the doorbell or the handles like jiggle on some of our doors upstairs. And we're like, that's weird. And then our dogs would kind of like look out into the hallway from our bed and just like they saw somebody. And I'm like, okay, that's very strange. It was like
That's
really,
weird.
really strange, but it was like positive. And then my neighbor was like, yeah, she planted that willow tree in your backyard and she absolutely loved this house. She didn't want to leave your house, but she had to. So like that kind of makes me think, okay, maybe that's why she came back here. That's what our thought process was, but like all of it was like super positive. I feel like
Nice.
she
Yeah.
wants to protect the house.
We've talked to quite a few people over the years. The thing that we kind of landed on with spirits and passing away and whatnot is people being stuck where they've passed away. It's kind of rare that we hear someone bring up a story where presumably someone passed away and they returned many thousands of miles back to some place that they really loved. So that's really interesting. I like that. Like what's your take on that, Bekah? What do you think about like whenever like if a spirit were to manifest from and it really was somebody who passed away, do you think like what do you think happens? Do you think you get to return to a place where you feel the most positive energy, or are you more in the camp of like something has to bring you back physically to some place?
No, I feel like wherever you're happiest, you're probably gonna go, right? Because that's where, like, if you're
Okay.
not ready
Yeah.
to pass on, you're gonna go where all of that energy is. And then we also think about like, there was no way in hell we should have gotten this house. Like, I had to move in with my mom for a little bit. And we're sleeping on her attic floor, and while we're trying to like in the process to buy a house, because our house in Baltimore sold in 8 hours, and we were like, oh my god, we have to get out.
Wow.
Like, we got to figure this out. And we somehow like saw this house, and I don't know how I never noticed this house before because it's literally 2 minutes from my mom's house, and we have to drive by it to get to her house. I'm like, how have I never seen this house before? And it's for sale. And I like remember just laying on this concrete floor because the dogs popped our air mattress. And I'm like just like sitting there like manifesting. I'm like, all right, we're gonna get this house. We're gonna get this house. There were two, okay, so we had two issues trying to get the house, and then it was like no, we were told no twice, and then all of a sudden the owners decided that they would chip in like a huge sum of money, and basically that's how we got the house. Like there was no way. There was absolutely no way. I just like remember like laying on the floor. I'm like, come on, like I know this woman. I remember like I never met this woman. I remember like literally like just manifesting it and just like meditating, and I'm like, please, like I will take such great care of this house. Like we love this house. It's gonna be like our perfect home. And then later on that happens like after she passed away, which was crazy because the woman, lived in this house through breast cancer and she survived, and then she went out and she passed away. It's just crazy. Like she battled so hard, and then she was scuba diving, and
Oh
something
my
went
gosh.
wrong with the mask and she passed away while she was
Oh, goodness
out in
gracious.
Guam. Like she was just doing something fun for herself.
Do you happen to know how old she was? Was she much older? Was
She
she retired or
she would definitely had to be like in her like 40s.
Oh my gosh, that's so young.
So
Oh,
she
wow.
yeah. So it was just like crazy,
Yeah.
like the sequence of like how we got in here, and just like the small things, and just me being intuitive. sometimes like I can hear spirits, they can talk to me, right? And I can't always just make it happen. I was downstairs and I was painting our dining room, and I'm by myself at home just like painting, and I hear thank you. And I'm like, what? And then heard that with my ears. And then I start hearing like her talking to me like in my head, and she's like, "Thank you. Like I really appreciate you like making this house beautiful. Like I thank you." And then gosh, I hope like her children don't hear me. They're going to think I'm crazy, but I hear her and she says, "I want to let you know, if you can let my daughter know, when she has a baby, I'm coming back. Like that's me. It's me." I have no idea if her daughter's pregnant. I have no idea. This is just something that like totally came to me, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Then like a week later, we get her daughter's like W-2 in the mail, and I'm like, what the hell? Like I didn't look her up yet on Facebook. I kind of want to look her up and see if she's pregnant though, but she might
Yeah.
think I'm weird if I tell her.
Well, okay. Well, here's the thing though. Now you have recorded evidence. So for reference, we're recording on January 29th. So if you do find out that she's pregnant, you can point to this podcast and be like, "Hey, I'm not crazy. I literally said this on the podcast. I didn't know if you were pregnant yet or not. And if she is, there you go. You got proof."
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I was like, whoa. Because it always doesn't happen. But like, that was like really intense. And I was like literally painting my dining room, and I like started tearing up. I was like, oh my God. Like, that made me so sad. But like,
Yeah.
that woman was very spiritual, and like, she left a lot of things in the house. Like, we literally use them and utilize it. So like, that makes me think, okay, maybe she's like, oh my God, these people love what I had in this house that I left here, and they still use it too. So
That's incredible. I had kind of like a similar positive experience with getting a home here in Hawaii, which I know is crazy, but like that, I mean, I never thought I would ever be here, but you talk about manifesting and whatnot. And so I came here the first time I ever like left home on a real vacation with my family. My aunt and uncle brought my mom and I out here in, the early 2000s. I was really young. I was like 13, 14. And like I said, it was the first time I had been that far away on a real vacation. And we actually went to Kauai, and I fell in love with Hawaii. And like every moment after that, I always, try to manifest, like dreaming about living in Hawaii, like, oh, I want to live there so bad, and just the way things lined up, it was similar to your case where it feels like it shouldn't have happened because it was like literally winning the lottery. The way things lined up, it was like once in a lifetime sort of thing. But I always wondered to this day, like, like really manifesting positivity when I came out here, and really this area of the world really resonating with me, and just wanting to spend my life here. I wonder if that contributed to helping us get in like live in Hawaii. So that I'm glad I've come across somebody, at least one other person, who had a similar story about manifesting positivity and potentially having help from the other side to get where you want to go, where you feel like you belong. So I like that. That's a really great story.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I 100% believe in manifestation, and that's like even me like manifesting. Like I remember like laying there and manifesting, and then all of a sudden the things that I manifested started to come true when we were in the house that I was thinking of, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, this is deja vu. Like this is crazy."
Nice. That's awesome.
One quick thing on manifestation. At first, I thought it was bullshit until I actually tried it.
Yeah.
There's two things about manifestation. You could envision yourself already there and having it. But I think the important thing is that if you don't make steps to do it, it just remains an idea. It's not like just going to fall into
Yeah.
your lap, right? So like there were a couple times, same with you, my wife and I were trying to purchase a home. We got tired of where we were living. Where we're at right now, it was like, oh man, this house is kind of out of our budget, but we really like it. Just kept thinking about it, just kept talking about it. And it was one of those things, like weird things started to fall into place when it came to actually getting it. Like same with you, like we got like a whatever, like a seller's credit, like the
Yeah.
sellers of the home were like, yeah, we'll give you like 15 grand to like close on the house and like do all this stuff. And it's like, holy shit. And like, yeah, we'll come down on the price by like $50,000. We don't mind. It's just like
Well,
weird, unorthodox shit that you wouldn't expect
Yeah.
from
No,
those
most
certain
definitely.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And same with when I was trying to get a new vehicle. It's like I really like this car. Kind of expensive, but like, you just keep thinking about it. You're like, you know what, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it. And then you find that same exact make and model that you're looking for within your budget range. It's like, holy crap, there's nothing wrong with it. And then you end up getting it. So $5 million man deed. Keep thinking about it.
$5.5 million. $5.5 million. That's the okay. Hold on. That's the amount that I calculated a long time ago that that would get us through all like raising all our children and living the lifestyle that we're currently living now. Like nothing, like because $5.5 million is a lot of money, but it's really not that much money for a lifetime. And our dream, my wife and I, our dream is to have enough money to spend all our time with our kids and to do the things that we love to do, like pretty much like anybody else, right? Like you, but we've been working for, I don't know, 12 years now. And we're like, oh man, we already feel like we're done. Like we just don't want to do this anymore. And, in our career fields or whatever. So I've been trying to manifest at least a portion of that money to help like launch something better, something else.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, just keep manifesting it and then things will just keep coming. Like even if it's just like little things, just be so happy and grateful for the tiny little things. And then if you show the universe that you're grateful for it, then why can't bigger things come in?
Yeah, that's definitely the case with the pod, dude. Like, I think in the beginning we were getting like 10 downloads an episode. Then it's like, holy crap, we hit 20, and it's like,
yep.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
And now we're up to several hundred, right? Like it's kind of still rolling along in a positive way. So
yeah.
I told my mom, and she was like, "Whoa, I've listened to that podcast." I was like, "Really? You have?"
Really?
Yeah,
thanks, Mom.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
She keeps asking me, she's like, "Can I listen to it yet?" I was like, I checked the other day, it wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
Super stoked.
So that is, I will apologize to your mom. That is my fault. I released the episode. What the hell did I release? I released it last Friday, and I just schedule it all out beforehand, and it's like over the weekend I was like, I forgot something, and then we got on the pod today. I was like, oh shit, I forgot to tell her that her episode's out. So
nice.
The episode is out.
No, you're fine. Like if my body didn't breathe for itself, like I would literally forget to breathe. So
same. But okay, so you had that positive experience. Do you have anything else that happened recently that you want to share positive wise, or do you want to pivot to anything else?
We do. Like it's totally random. So I don't know. Like we have these little cat ghosts in our house, right?
Interesting.
They're actual,
okay.
like it's crazy because like I've seen full-bodied apparitions, right, of humans, but I have seen these cats like literally. I don't know how, but they like literally just appear full like body, like color and all, and they do it all the time, and it's actually crazy because like I've literally dropped my drink because I thought I was like stepping over our cat, and I was like, wait, our cat wouldn't be in the kitchen because he can't be near our dogs, and I like literally like dropped my drink and like held myself up from tripping over. I'm like, wait, like there's no cat there, like. Like they are like colorful. Like one is white and then one is orange, and it's crazy. They just run around our house and we all see them.
You should try to find out if the woman who lived there had cats. Do you know if they had cats there before?
She did. She rescued a whole bunch of animals and she fostered a crap ton of animals. Like so I wonder if like one of them is like buried in the backyard because there's this weird like little like piece of like maybe cinder block, and it's like just sitting straight up, propped up against a tree in the backyard. And I'm like, is it supposed to be like a grave or something? Our house is 126 years old, by the way. It's like super old.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Yeah, so there's like, I know she lived here, and then the neighbors told me that a lady and her husband lived here before, and he was a doctor, and they both owned an antique store behind our house, and they would walk to work every day, and there's like a bunch of antiques that were left here, so I don't know if that's from that owner or the previous owner, but there's a lot of cool things here.
Lots of human and animal energy have been through that house. That's pretty cool. We've talked to some people over the last couple of years who brought up the possibility of animal hauntings, and that always interested me a lot because you don't hear that very often. And I know that there's a lot of people who believe in the supernatural who would kind of caution to say that a spirit would be an actual animal as opposed to something else manifest, trying to portray itself as an animal. But what's your take on that, Bekah? Like, what do you think is going on? Because you think of animals and spirituality and all that stuff, and the animals in a lot of religions don't carry the same imprint or soul or whatever that humans supposedly carry. So there's a lot of like conflicting ideas out there about what happens to animals when they pass away. But I always like the idea that if you have an animal that kind of bonded with the person or a person, and that energy maybe increased or strengthened or attached itself slightly to the person itself. I always wondered if like that is what holds animals in a certain place. Like maybe they're waiting for to be reunited for their owners or something like that. But like, what's your take on animal spirits?
Personally, I think that animals are just have the same souls that humans can have, right? And I also believe in like reincarnation. So just because you were a person in one life doesn't mean you didn't come back and you're an animal in this life. So
Right, yeah.
I wholeheartedly believe that like animals can either move on or they can stay. I mean, when we go into our other realm, when we die, like who's to say, like, I think we're just a whole bunch of souls running around, and here on Earth, this is just our meat suit. So, like,
Yeah, I like
my
that,
soul
yeah.
this time, like, chose, I don't know, this meat suit, and maybe the one before I was a cat. I don't know. But I feel like animals also, like, people can have, like, familiars, right? So, like, maybe you had a dog growing up, but then you got another dog, and like there's just something so different about that animal that like you guys are so connected on like a soul level. It doesn't matter that it's an animal. So I mean, I've seen my dog that passed away running through our house as well, and I'm like my wife's even seen it too. We've all seen it. So I feel like the cats here though, they're like super positive. They're just like literally cats. And I live on farmland, so I don't know if it's the woman's cats. I don't know if we have a bunch of outside cats, like barn cats and stuff like that too around the neighborhood. So it's like, who knows where they came from. But I feel like cats are like good, like spirits. But then sometimes like I get weary of like dog ghosts because you always hear of like,
Interesting.
Hellhounds.
Yes. So, and I can tell you another story too that happened to my dad at the hospital. If you want to hear about that one, that does involve a black dog.
I don't think I don't mean to divert the subject from animal spirits, but later on, I don't think we ever covered the Glendale Hospital. So I think that would be really interesting to cover.
When we had to put our dog down, we got her cremated, and I was under the assumption that like it was just her ashes in this little urn that we got back. And when my mom's cat passed away like a couple months ago, we went and got him cremated, and they were like, do you want like community cremation or do you want like single animal cremation? I was like, I only want his remains. And my wife's like, our dog is like mixed with a whole bunch of other animals, I guess, right? Because I did community cremation last time. I was like, is this why we have like cats running around our house? Or like, I have no idea. Like, so there's just like a whole bunch of cremation. I didn't know like community cremation was like a thing for pets.
No, now that I know that, I will explicitly ask to not have that done. That's I don't know. I think that's kind of like we're just gonna mass burn all of your dead animals, and maybe you'll get a part of your dog, maybe you won't, type of thing. That's kind of messed up.
Yeah, it was like $300 more for my mom's cat to be by himself. I was like, that's fine. I just want my mom's cat. Like, I don't want everybody else's animals.
Yeah, I would do the same. Honestly, I would do the same. But hearing you talk about animal spirits kind of makes me happy. And the reason I say that is because I have this fear that like animals, when they just go, they just go. They're like, they don't stick around or anything like that. So
I really don't believe that. I promise you, they stick around.
Yeah, you always come across like those videos that like you can't sleep, you're already depressed, it's like 2 a.m, and it's like, and the caption is somebody's been waiting for you on the other side of the Rainbow Bridge, and it's like a dog.
Oh my God.
And then you just start bawling.
I have to scroll past those. So I'm like, I can't do it. I can't. It hurts.
I saw this TikTok a week or so ago, and it was just a really short one, but it was really interesting. Some cat owner was like, let's see what happens when I play like ancient Egyptian chanting music or something.
I saw that.
Did you see that? And the cat was like looking the other direction, and then she plays
Mhm.
the Egyptian music, or like, you know, the old school chanting Egyptian religion music, and the cat like widens its eyes and like turns around, and then she's the joke is like, oh, she's remembering her ancient Egyptian cat days.
I kind of want to do that to my cat. See
That'd
what
be
he
a fun
does.
experiment.
Cats are kind of low key evil though, because like they'll do the weirdest.
They steal your
shit.
soul.
Yeah, they'll like do the weirdest shit at like 3 a.m. It's like, why are
Oh,
y'all
yeah.
having like
I
WrestleMania?
love
at
though
3 a.m.?
when they spaz out. Like that's my favorite cat thing, is that like that dogs don't do well. Dogs get zoomies and stuff, but when you see those funny TikTok compilations of like putting tinfoil on the the counter or something, or like when a cat is just like suddenly just starts spazzing out for no reason, I love that. It's so funny. But a quick story. So my wife and I, when we were dating and we were going to school, we were living in Pittsburgh. We were living in this house with two other students. One of them had a cat. Well, first of all, this cat was crazy. I had never experienced this before. The cat could like talk. It would sit outside our door when we closed the door to go to bed at night, and it would just sit there going, "Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah." And like it sounded so much like it was saying hello. It was insane.
That was a
But they were
skinwalker,
Those
dude.
cats
Fuck
creep me
that.
out.
Hey man, that cat was weird in a good way. There was one night where somehow the cat got into our room and we didn't know. It was in our closet at the time, and it was pitch black in the room, and we didn't know it was in there. We were falling asleep. You would think the cat would freak out earlier, right? The cat would probably freak out much, much earlier than it did. But we were laying in the dark, falling asleep, and then all of a sudden we just hear this big crashing, bumping, and like hitting around, freaking out, like no meowing, but just like scurrying in the room. And we just jump up and we're like freaking out, like, what is that? Oh my God. And then we like open the door, like the closet door, and the cat comes running out. And it was just the most random, like, how did you get in here? Why did you not freak out sooner? Why did you wait in like 20 minutes at like we were falling asleep to freak out in the closet? That was a great time with,
stalking his prey.
yeah, that little cat. That little cat, he got stuck in our roommate's mattress, and he ate a hole into the mattress, and he got up underneath the box spring, and we thought that he had run away, and then we found him in there, and we could not get him out of there. It was just and that was my I had never had a cat growing up, and it's not that I don't like cats. I've always been a dog person. With my family's always been dog people and stuff. So like that was my first like intimate experience living with a cat, and it was just hilarious and freaky.
But I think we've talked about cats for quite a bit. But Bekah, you started to share something about a creepy dog spirit on the last show. We didn't get to talk about I think it was Glendale Hospital. So why don't we segue into that?
Glendale is this abandoned tuberculosis hospital in Maryland, and it's really close to DC. So I mean, there's a ton of people that like come and go. It is completely like vandalized. There's like nothing left to it. My friends and I decided to go just to see it, not because we were like, oh, ghosts. Like we just wanted to see it and like see what it was about and kind of just, creep ourselves out a little bit. We spent the entire day there. Like we went early in the morning and we kind of stayed there until like 4 or 5 in the afternoon until we got caught by the police. But it's
Oh,
huge. I think it has 21 or 26 buildings. I can't remember. It has a lot, and it even has a crematorium. It has a morgue. Like it was cool. We wanted to go see it. This was like the time when everybody first started getting iPhones. Like, I mean, this was a while ago, like 2013, 2014 maybe. And I didn't know how to like turn on the flashlight on my phone, so I was taking a video with the flash on, like the entire way through like the entire building the whole time. And I didn't know like that I caught anything on the camera until I got home, and I like was like I have never been so creeped out or had such a feeling of dread or like I was being like stalked ever in my entire life until I was like in there. And I'm like, all right, I want to go home and I just like want to watch these videos. And my wife and I, we went with my 2 other friends, so it's 4 of us. I'm like watching this video when I go home, like with her, and all of a sudden, like I pan down and I'm like, guys, I am so scared. Like I literally felt like something was like near me, on me, behind me, and I kept hearing a man moan. And I was like, did anyone hear that? My friend's like totally skeptical, and she's like, no, I didn't hear it. I didn't hear anything. And then I hear a man moan again. It's like, and I'm
Oh my
like,
god.
guys, please tell me you heard that. And then my wife's like, yeah, I heard it. And then I like pan down, I pan through a doorway. You can see the figure starting, it's a black, solid figure from head to toe. And it's tall. And you can see it like coming through the doorway. Then I pan back down because I'm scared. And I pan back over, and you can see the rest of him walking through the doorway. Now we had like walked through every room, looked in every room. Like there was nobody in there. There was like no one with us. And when I got, like, I'm like shaking right now because it scared the shit out of me. But like when I got home, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like this is terrifying. And I'm sitting in my house, like the super haunted one that I told you about last time. Like, and I'm just like, oh my God, I just like watched this in the house, and the house is already creepy enough, and it just terrified me. But I will literally never go back there. I have never felt like that in a building, in a location ever. And there's like a whole bunch of like lore around it that like during like the tuberculosis outbreak was so terrible. Allegedly, they locked everybody in like the hospital and locked the doors and left them in there
Oh
to
my,
die, and
oh my
then
god.
returned. Now, is it true? I don't know. Are things ever well documented like that? Probably not. It's just like I've never felt like that. It was terrifying. I don't know how people like continue to go back in there. Then as we were leaving and to go to another building, I had looked up and I looked in this window for like this like door we're about to break into. And I see this woman in this white gown with brown hair, and she has solid, hollowed black eyes, and her mouth is open, and it's just completely black. Like everything's a black hole. And I just remember feeling like so sad and helpless. Like I was feeling what she was feeling. I posted a TikTok video about all of this, like what I experienced, and people started like commenting, and they're like, I saw that woman. I saw her. Like I
Oh my
saw the
god.
same woman with the same black hair, the black eyes, like everything. Like people were describing it, and I'm like, this is insane. Like I'm not the only person that saw her. Like, I don't know. Sorry, I got the chills now. But
I
I've
feel like
never
places like that, like I think that's totally believable because there's all kinds of crazy, terrible things that have happened in medical facilities, especially older ones, and
yeah.
especially like psych ward stories and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I could totally see that happening. Like if you back then, if you had people dying, I'm not saying it's justified, but if you had people dying of a highly contagious disease and you had no way to control it, and you're worried about it like getting out into the population, I can see that being 100% true. But see, like it's stories like this. So we pivoted from a really happy, positive story about a woman who passed away and helped you get your house and stuff like that, and you got positive vibes from that. But then you hear stories about like spirits suffering or being very sad or whatever. Like how do you justify the difference between those two things? I mean, some people would say like it's maybe it has to do with how the person lived their lives or the way that they died or something. But then if you want to go into the idea that it's the way they died, then it seems possible that you can live like a really perfectly happy, healthy life, and then you just die a terrible way, and then they're just like in that state. Also, other people would say even more so that if you see a ghost, a spirit like that, it might not even be a human. It might be something more negative trying to manifest or like to appear as a human being. So
Right.
did you ever like dwell on that with the case of the woman with the black holes? Like what do you think
Yeah.
is going on in a case like that?
If I'm seeing something with my mind's eye, like, and I'm actually seeing a spirit, I see their facial features. When I think of like the black holes, like for the eyes and the mouth and tall, solid black figures with literally no like defining features that I can't pick up on, that's when I think that it's like negative. So and I feel like that woman, it was trying to portray itself. This is just my like thought and feelings towards it because I saw it, but like she's trying to portray herself and like whatever that is that's so negative couldn't even make like facial features because it's such a dark spirit. That's just me. I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah.
But that's just like what I felt.
That makes sense.
But like other things I can pick up and I'm like, okay, they have like rosy red cheeks or green eyes, or I can pick up facial features. I'm like, okay, that person had jeans on, they were wearing a flannel shirt, like I can pick up on features, but that was like
With things like that you see, so you saw these with your mind's eye, or did you actually see them, like actual physical
no.
manifestations?
So that I actually saw as like a physical manifestation, like that woman.
Okay.
Like that was terrifying. And this is before like I knew I had some sort of gift, but I wasn't like
Sure.
open about it and I wasn't like exploring it. It was just like happening.
With those things, like specifically with that shadowy figure that you saw, and just things like have no defined features or just are similar in general with the energy they put off or the feeling that you get. Last time on the pod, you covered that you're like more spiritual, you're not really into one specific religion. What do you think, in your personal belief, what do you think those things are? Because I know we say like they're negative spirits. Some religions call them demons, some religions don't. So I just wanted to get your perspective on what you think they could possibly.
Only things that I've come in contact with, like I feel like I've come in contact with like negative spirits, but I feel like there's a greater source of like negativity, which I would source out as a demon. Like I feel like there's a like okay, let me back up. So like sometimes when you meet someone that's just like so that just feels so evil and then you come to find out they've done like evil things. Sometimes I feel
Right.
like there's like this huger like demonic force behind it that's kind of like taken over people. So I feel like there's just like this huge source of negative energy and it tries to like spread itself out in between people, and if you're kind of weak enough, then they're gonna latch onto you. That's why you need to be like positive and just like make yourself like a huge ball of light so nothing negative like that can affect you. I don't know if that kind of answered the question, but I've never really thought about where it kind of all comes from.
But to me, there's no like objective answer to it. There's educated guesses,
Yeah.
I'll say. So it's kind of like different for everybody. But I was kind of curious based off of like you being a more spiritual person, like if people that you talk to in the same like that have the same like type of beliefs, like had some sort of concept of where these things come from or what they could potentially be, because some people that are spiritual say that they're elementals or there's something like that was here before humanity type of stuff. And then when you like get into like Native American mythology or Native American lore, they're like, oh, it's like the Great Spirit or different types of spirits. So it kind of varies. So that's why I was curious of your perspective.
No, those are all like, I know. I'm kind of just like torn because I'm like, there's so many like good answers out there for all of this. And I'm just like, I always try to like stay in the positive side of it because I'm afraid if I like, I've been depressed before, right? I know how terrible that is. I've lived in a haunted house while I'm depressed and I let things negatively affect me. So I try really hard not to like think too hard about the negative aspects of it. Like I know, and sometimes I'll feel it, but then I have to just like ground myself and like, completely make sure I'm like protecting my entire body with like mindful meditation and thoughts of, projecting my light outwards and not letting anything come inside of like my light as it's shining out. But I would try really hard not to. I mean, I've seen things and I know, and I'm just like, all right, I'm not paying any mind to that. I'm not giving it my attention. Because I'm
Right.
afraid of those things, and I've seen what can happen if you're, low and you're vulnerable.
So like when you say you've seen things, is it a matter of you think they know that they're there type of thing? Or it's like, oh, okay. Or like you're just there in your mind's eye, this thing like pops up near you type of thing? Or do you think they actually know that, not just the negativity, just this in general, you think they know when you can see?
I think they know, but like I'll see them and I know, like I think they know, but like I don't say anything. I don't give them any Like, I'm afraid if I talk to them or acknowledge them and give them acknowledgement, it's like a gateway and it's just going to be open. So
Based off of all of that, like you've been on these haunted locations, you've had these hauntings in your life, both positive and negative. What are your general thoughts on the afterlife? Do you think there's somewhere positive we go, somewhere negative people go, or are you more of in the camp that it's like, I like to use the Greek mythology example, like everybody just goes to the same place, like Hades or something like that?
yeah, so asked me like 10 years ago, I'd have been like, oh, I'm going to heaven. But now that I'm like more spiritual and like awake and I've opened myself up and I've felt things, good, bad, evil, whatever. I really believe that if you like, right, this is our meat suit, right? So we have a soul and this is just our meat suit. And if we don't finish our soul's mission here while we're on earth, I don't think that like we can go to the place where all souls just get to stay forever. Like, I really feel like there is something that you have to accomplish here on earth for not just yourself, but like other souls, and you have to make a great big impact and change other people's lives as well as yourself. And then I feel like once you finish your mission, you can go on. But if you don't finish your mission, I think that you're reincarnated, honestly. That's what I feel, and that's what I think. It might be a little crazy, but I am gung-ho of trying to be the best, like, optimistic, positive person I can be, and like create that impact for like my family and the people around me, because I don't want to come back here because I think Earth might be hell. Like, I think this is hell, and I think we need to work our ways out of it.
My wife says the same thing. That what if this
I don't
is
think
hell?
all this terrible stuff should be going on in the world, and
Yeah.
I think
But would
this is
hell
maybe
have
it.
pizza? Would hell have delicious New York slices?
Oh my god! You know
I
what?
don't think so.
Is that why like I'm allergic to everything, because I can't have anything fun? Because that sounds amazing.
No.
No. Do you have a gluten allergy?
I do.
Oh, that sucks. Oh my god,
They got
sorry.
pills for that. You got to try New York pizza.
Oh god, I wouldn't be able to move if I ate it. That sounds amazing. I've had Jersey pizza when I was a kid, and I remember going on like the Jersey boardwalk, and they had mozzarella sticks on a pizza, and I ate it. And I like tell my wife about it all the time. She's like, "That sounds like a heart attack." And I was like 13, and it was freaking good because they put ranch on top of it with the mozzarella sticks. So
Jersey. Of course they did. But like, what a time. First of all, what a time to be alive, though, because I do agree in that there are aspects to life that are hellish in a way, because I don't know if I'm sure a lot of people have experienced this too, but like for me, it almost seems like every time, with a few exceptions, right? Like, family and health, living where I live and all that stuff and getting some good things, it does always seem that I do get pulled back down when I make any kind of advancement in a different direction. It almost seems sometimes like it's unfair, like it's choreographed. It's like one of those things where like you really like you kind of look up and you're like, really, I've tried doing something positive and making headway for the 25th time, and then something comes along and kind of knocks you back to where you were like 6 months prior. And that's when I really think that, like, I wonder if there is something more to life, in the sense that we're trying to, like you said, Bekah, we're trying to learn something or understand something when we're here. And to kind of jump off of that, going back to the heaven, hell, afterlife sort of thing, I think that heaven, the more I think about it, is problematic. And I know that's going to be a red flag for a lot of people who are religious who might be listening. But I'm not going to go into all the ways it's problematic that I've ever thought of, because it's a lot of ways. Like, I've thought like, oh, what about this? What about that? But one particular way that's kind of funny that you see on TikToks with it being a problem is the joke about like a picture of some guy or a video or something, and he's talking, but there's no audio. And he's like, it says like me trying to explain like a double shot Halo kill in this video game to a caveman or something like that. Or like you said, Bekah, like me trying to explain to a woman who starved to death in the 1300s how delicious a mozzarella pizza with ranch on it is. You know what I mean? It's like that's a problem. And even more so, if you think about, like, if you go to heaven and there's all these people there who are good, just as good as you were, but they lived completely different lives, and there's no real resonance. You don't really have any personal connection in a meaningful way to share with them your experiences or anything like that. So like that's why I think a permanent heaven is such a problem in terms of a concept, and that's why I gravitate more towards life being a series of lessons that where you have different lives, and they all kind of, like Chris has said before, like on the podcast, where maybe it's one of those things where when you pass away, you kind of reform with your larger soul, and all of the past lives you have, you become aware of them when you go up there. And then this life that we're talking, the three of us right now, or anyone listening or watching, it's like this is one little slice in your cosmic soul of experiences that's being amassed for a greater purpose or greater understanding of existence or whatever it may be. Yeah, I that's just that's where I've grown to in so many years, you know, starting out Catholic, believing in heaven and hell, and then kind of like really using my forethought and introspection and like reflection, all that stuff, to think about what it really means, what the implications are of a permanent afterlife, and if that doesn't work, then what's the next most plausible series of things that play out afterwards. So that I think this is a great pivot to that kind of idea.
I just wanted to share this. So like I've seen, I don't know if I want to call it heaven, but like I've seen like spirits like around people. And I've even had dreams about people being wherever that positive space is, and it really is a big bright white light. Now, I don't know what that actually is, but I've seen it. I've seen my dad there. My dad actually died 5 times before he actually died. Recalls heaven. Like, that's what he called it, because we're well, I was Catholic, but my family's Catholic. But
Yeah.
I just, like, remember being little and my dad telling me, like, no, it's real. I was there. I was there. And he would just keep telling us, like, what it was like and how beautiful it was, and all his family was there. And John Wayne, because he loved John Wayne more than anything. I don't know why, but
Okay, if John Wayne is in heaven, I think we're all good.
Yo.
Okay. Hold on a second. That's not a shot. John Wayne was an amazing actor, but the stories I've heard,
my
No, I'm just
dad
poking
named my
fun.
brother Jake after Jake the Snake from John Wayne. So
What?
Jake
yeah,
the Snake.
like my dad was
Oh.
obsessed with John Wayne. Like, oh, I just
But
like, oh, I don't have it, but I
that's
just got this portrait from my grandparents' house because we just cleaned it out. Like, we finally cleaned it out, and it's a portrait of John Wayne. I just don't know where to hang it up yet.
oh my god. Oh my god, you just brought back a core memory of mine. I had a best friend growing up, and we used to have sleepovers all the time. And his dad was a huge John Wayne buff, and we would be down in the like we would sleep over in the basement of his house, and we'd play video games and watch movies and fall asleep. But they had a bust of John Wayne, like a real size bust of him in a cowboy outfit, and it was, I don't know what it was made out of. It wasn't glass, it wasn't fiberglass. It might have been like ceramic or something. It was really heavy, and I can't tell you how many times I would stare at that thing when it was like twilight in the middle of the night, and I could swear that it would turn its head and turn its eyes at me. And I completely buried that deep down until we just start talking about heaven and John. That's crazy.
Oh, that's
my God.
funny.
That's why I love this podcast. It's like this podcast, talking to people, like, brings so much up in such a healthy way. And it's just been phenomenal.
It's fun. It just brings up repressed memories that you don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
But you can bring it up in a fun manner. Yeah, I'm kind of with y'all on the concept of heaven. I think it exists in the sense that, you know, there's a place of positivity. I don't think that being eternally damned is fair. I think there has to be some sort of lesson you learn from it.
Yeah,
unless you're like a
or
total
necessary.
total prick like Hitler. Like, you know, dude, you could get flayed for the next 30 trillion years for all I care. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like there's got to be something, some sort of lesson you have to take and something that you have to learn from this life.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like one of those weird Catholics because of like my mixed religious background, because of my family. You know, I think reincarnation's a thing. And I think we've had past lives. And I think our past lives dictate what we're attracted to in this.
Do you guys like remember anything from your past lives?
Me personally, no. But the reason I think that is because at 3 years old, like a 3-year-old child should not be obsessed with the History Channel and watching ancient Roman documentaries, which was me as a child.
Yeah.
Which my mom would say all the time, like I didn't understand why the hell you wanted to watch that. Like I would put on cartoons for you, and you're like, no, I want to watch, stuff about ancient Rome. It's like, what fucking 3-year-old wants to watch ancient Rome? Like I don't get it. So I think we're attracted to certain things, and we're geared towards liking certain things and certain mannerisms because of our past lives. Dean, you brought up an interesting concept, and Bekah, I wanted to hear your thoughts on this, that people that do heinous shit in this life, like serial killers, like and stuff like that, these might be people that are going through their first go. Because it's like, why would you do something like I knew as a kid, I did not need the 10 Commandments to tell me as a child that I shouldn't bash my aunt's dog's head in with a brick, That should be kind of a given, that you're not supposed to kill things. But then you have people that like go into the urge, like, well, I just wanted to know what it, and it's like, is it of course, psychology, science, medicine, but is there like another aspect to that causes people to do that? Like, is this their first go around as a soul in a human body? Whereas us, where we have more empathy and better easier to understand other people and other things, that it's not our first go around, and we're trying not to come back again.
Like I never even like thought about that. Like that's like that could be like their first go around. I never even thought about that.
But yeah, even that can be a little bit iffy because, like you said, Chris, there's like we know now in this more modern age that the people are born with physiological ailments that make them more predisposed to doing stuff like that, as opposed to just suddenly waking up one day, like any one of us could have just decided to see what it's like to hurt something or kill something. For me, when we talk about this sort of supernatural concept of life, about what it could be, that kind of throws a wrench in it for me, or like at least it muddles it, because if you can be born with a physical ailment that you have no control over, at least in this life, then it almost seems, like you said, Chris, like totally unfair that you would be punished but then, you get into some really dark, in my opinion, dark, heavy religious concepts that I've learned about over the years, that, some religions and some groups within religions believe that, like, if there is an all powerful, all knowing God, and that God decided that, okay, this person's going to be this, and they're going to be a case trial for everybody else to see what it's like, and they're kind of just screwed. I definitely don't subscribe to that idea, but that's just an idea that's out there. But then, but just jumping back, like the idea that we could have issues physically with our bodies, and if you even think about someone who has, say, untreated diabetes or something, like diabetes makes you really freaking angry. Like it really, like it is a physiological thing that drives you more to be predisposed towards anger and frustration and lashing out. And so it's just like little nuances like that in the physiological aspects of our lives that make me think that it's actually, now I think about it, it's even more of a case, I think, for continuing lives, like as an experience, as opposed to just one life, one shot, whatever. Like, you come here, you suffer, you're angry, you learn what that's like, then you go on to your next life and you're like, okay, well, maybe it's going to be a little bit different this time around. So that kind of pushes me even more towards the camp of like reincarnation and multiple lives.
You guys are going to laugh at me. I have this weird obsession with Abraham Lincoln. Like, I don't know why.
Oh, yeah?
It's so freaking weird. And it makes me like feel like my past life had something to do with that. Like ever since I can remember, I like have been obsessed with Abraham Lincoln, and I don't know why. Like, it's really weird.
Interesting.
Welcome back, Mary Todd.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, I've honestly always thought that. I'm like, I'm either married Todd or like I assassinated him. Like, I don't know what I did, but like
I will not allow a reincarnated John Wilkes Booth on this podcast.
You know what's crazy? One of our Baltimore has like it's called Todd's Inheritance, right? So Mary Todd, right? So Todd's Inheritance, and like it's a huge thing for, you know, Baltimore teenagers to go out and see if they can see, you know, anything swinging from like the slaves swinging from the trees, or the woman in the window waiting for her husband to come home. Like it's like just to go creep yourself out. And like when I started covering that, I was like, oh my God, I didn't even realize. Like I've been obsessed with that house for my like entire childhood, even up until now. And I'm like, I had no idea that Mary Todd used to live there. I was like, what?
Wow.
That is so weird. And I'm obsessed with
Bekah, do
Abraham
you?
Lincoln, and
Oh,
I
sorry.
don't
Go ahead.
know. No, go ahead.
Do you know? Do you know the story of Edwin Booth? Have you ever heard of that story? The true story of Edwin Booth?
No.
No. Okay, Chris, I think you already know this, but we talked about this before, and this is what we're talking about in this episode. The craziness of the way life plays out and the way things kind of just happen in a way that you have to pause and say there's definitely something more. So in it was either 1864 or 65, and I have to read it because I want to get the story right. So Edwin Booth was a famous actor, right? And he apparently saved a young man from being crushed by a train in Jersey City. There's Jersey. So the incident happened, and this is all documented. This is a real story. So this guy, Edwin Booth, saved some kid from being crushed by a train in Jersey City, and he didn't know who he was at the time. He just, some random dude saved another random dude. Turns out Edwin Booth was John Wilkes Booth's brother, and he happened to save Robert Todd Lincoln, who was the eldest brother of President Abraham Lincoln. There you go. John Wilkes Booth assassinated Lincoln, and his oldest son, who survived, went on to be saved by the brother of the guy who assassinated his father. Now, here's the thing. It is a true story in terms of documentation and all that stuff. But the other thing you have to be cautious of is like when you start to involve politics and the way this stuff sort of plays out, especially in a time where there's not a lot of there's a lot of conjecture and secondhand storytelling in terms of news and whatnot. So I would still sprinkle a caution in there, like, this could have been a fabricated thing. But for the most part, most people tend to err on the side of this really happened. And this guy really didn't know who the kid he saved was. And that's just what we're talking about, like the craziness that things circle back to. But anyway, there's your nugget of like crazy story for history today.
Saved Lincoln's son, and then his brother just popped them in the head. Holy.
Right.
My mom took me to see the bloody cuff. They cut off his jacket of his arm, and it was in a museum. When they brought it around to Baltimore, she took me to see it. Like,
oh my gosh. I
Like
didn't even know that
the
was a
blood
thing.
from Lincoln.
Yep, it was on. It's just like the cuff of his sleeve, from when he was assassinated, and had his blood on it. And I thought it was the coolest thing. Like, I'm like a
Have
middle
you-
schooler. I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
Have you seen
my
the
gosh.
other, like the pillow and all the other stuff in person in DC?
No, I don't. Is it in one of the Smithsonian's?
I think so.
My mom took
think
me
it
to
might be.
Smithsonian so much as a kid, I might have. But I did go to the History of Funeral Museum in Texas when I went, and I got to see like the whole layout of how his casket looked, and they had like a I guess like a paper mache looking model of him in the casket with like all the stuff from his
Whoa.
funeral. Like it was pretty cool. And it was the only exhibit, and like when I was there, that the light was flickering on, and I was walking through the museum by myself
Oh,
on like
wow.
a Monday morning at 9 a.m. because I'm crazy.
Creepy.
Oh, that's something I would do too. Do
Yeah.
you know there's like only one picture in existence of him in his coffin? Somebody
Really?
snuck in a camera, and there's a picture of him laying in state, and the coffin's open, and there's two. I think there might have been two like army officers like standing, like they were clearly talking to each other while this picture was being taken. And apparently, I guess the embalming of Lincoln, like his like skin turned like this bronze-ish type of color. That when they like try to rob his grave or something, and they like I think they bust open his casket, like he didn't decay or anything like that, which was pretty crazy. There's a whole documentary on like the Lincoln assassination and
I need to watch that.
the attempt to like steal his body. I think like former Confederates, like maybe a decade or 5 years later, like literally tried to steal Lincoln's body, which is nuts. Speaking of like Civil War creepy stuff, when it was called the Museum of the Confederacy in Richmond, I went down there with a friend and we saw Stonewall Jackson's torn up coat and the blood from the handkerchief and everything. It's nuts.
There's like a bunch of stores down in Gettysburg, like just like antique stores that you can go in, and they'll have like bloody dresses and pieces of like a tree that was shot, and like they just have it in like encasings, and it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, you go to that museum they have where it like goes from like Civil War to like World War One and World War Two, and they have the skull of like a German
I
soldier.
don't know. Which one is that?
Oh my god, I forget. It's like I can't remember the name of it, but it's the one that has like the bullet in the tree type of thing.
Okay, I might have seen it. I've been to so many like museums, I like forget half the time what I see until I like something really sticks out at me and I'm like, oh my god, that's cool. And then I remember.
If you ever get a chance to go to the Civil War Museum, I think it's in Harrisburg. Eventually the exhibit takes you to like the medical section and it shows like the equipment they use for like amputations and medical treatment. You'll just get an eerie feeling while you're there. It's just so sad and somber.
All right, now I gotta go. That's only
Yeah.
like 40 minutes for me.
Oh, you definitely have to go. It was great. It was great when I went there.
Let's talk about the Black Hellhound. I wanna
Yeah.
hear about that story real quick because that really piqued my interest.
Yeah.
Earlier
So, my dad was in the hospital for quadruple bypass. Like he had 4 bypasses. And my wife and I were going to Florida to get married, and he unfortunately had to all of a sudden get surgery. So we're like there right before we had to go. And he had woken up from a coma. He was in a coma for like 5 or 6 days because they induced it to try and get him to calm down so his body could heal. So he had just woken up and he was up for like maybe a couple of hours, and he's like, the nurse is like, hey, do you remember them? And he's like, yeah, they're both squirrely. And I was like, okay, that's what my dad always called us. Like he called us squirrely. So I was like, oh, okay, my dad's fine. Like he's in there. Like he knows who we are. And all of a sudden he's like, look, Beck. I'm like, what? And he's like, the black dog. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, the black dog. Can you get it? I need to reach it. I need to pet it.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he kept going. He wouldn't even like talk to us. He was just so, all he wanted to talk about was that black dog. And the nurse walked out of the room, and then she had walked back in, and he's like, hun, get the black dog. I need to pet the black dog. And that, I have never seen like a nurse like just like snap out of like professional mode. And she was like, what? No, there's no black dog. Stop. And she's like, starts getting him like ice chips and water and like trying to give him like, I'm like, this is really weird. Like, okay, like, all right. I thought my dad was like hallucinating because he was under for so long. We say goodbye to him, and he finally gives up the whole black dog thing. And I literally leave there, go to get my hair done for my wedding, like before we go to Florida. And I'm telling my hairstylist, she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like my dad kept saying I pet a black dog. And she's like, that's like a really bad omen. You know that, right? And I'm like, no. So then I'm like, start
Oh my God.
looking into it. And it's like people
Jeez.
before they die see this black dog. And like, if you acknowledge it and you go with it, like you're gonna die, like you're going with it. And I was like, nah, like, and I looked it up and I had never heard anything about it. And I'm like sitting there getting my hair bleached and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, my dad's gonna die as I'm like going to
Oh,
Florida to
no.
get married. Like, I'm so glad that nurse kind of jumped in because I probably would have played along and I was probably stupid back then. I'm like, yeah, you want to pet a dog? That's cool.
Yeah, sure.
Pet a dog.
Look at that.
Yeah. He lived like another like 9 months after that, but that was really weird, and I've never seen a nurse get like that before. Because this what I'm telling you, like my dad like died 5 times before he died. Like he was always in the hospital, and I've never seen him like that.
If you remember, I'm going to look this up too afterwards, but if you can recall from your research, what series of spirituality or religion was that associated most with? Or was it pretty general, spread out across different ones?
I don't really recall that. I just remember like frantically looking up into black dogs, and I kind of haven't like looked into it since because it just creeped me out so much.
No,
But
that makes
is
sense.
it
Yeah, I'm
Native?
definitely gonna
Is
look
it
into
like
that though.
Native American? Or
Okay,
no,
I
I
can
don't know
see
that.
that.
I'm not sure. But that's just my
Interesting.
guess.
No, that's a crazy story. I can't even imagine what that would have been like when you're sitting there. Like you just probably instinctively just wanted to go back to your dad after that, after hearing
Yeah.
that. But I mean, I'm sorry that he passed away so
Yeah.
recently after that. But I'm glad it didn't happen from the black dog.
Oh my God, yeah,
Um,
me too. And it's weird that the nurse, like, she knew. Like, she knew. Because
yeah,
it was weird. She was like frantic, like, no.
This is a call out to anyone listening who has like friends in the medical profession, or like if you work in the medical profession and you have stories like this, like we need to explore this realm more, because that's really I'm sure people who work in the ER or in the critical care or whatever in the ICU, I'm sure they have the craziest stories we could possibly imagine. So I think
would love to
it's
hear
time to
them.
branch out if we can into that.
The way that she reacted, clearly she's seen that before, which I'm not shocked. And to your point, Dean, yeah, I would love to speak to some like hospice nurses or like, just ER nurses or anyone that's, worked in that field before. I'm sure they've had a plethora of unexplained things or creepy things that have happened to them. So, Bekah, the last question I have for you before we end tonight. You're wearing a Zach Baggins Haunted Museum t-shirt. Did you go there? Did you tour the museum? And while you were there, what were the vibes you picked up on? Did you see anything weird or feel uncomfortable while you were there?
2 years ago, when I went to Vegas for work, and I was like, the second we got off the plane, I was like, all right, we're going to the Zach Bagans Museum. And I like booked it there in the Uber. I just like, that's always been a dream of mine to go, just to kind of see all of the haunted and demonic things. You weren't allowed to take any pictures or videos, unfortunately. Like, you had to have your cell phone like turned off and put away. Like, if it even went off, you were kicked out. Like, they were like strict. But it was intense. Like, it was so scary, honestly. Like, my throat felt like it was like closed up the whole time. I could just like feel my heart beating, and I just like, I wanted to see all the stuff because I was there, and I was like, okay, this might be like a once in a lifetime kind of thing. I just kept like imagining like, a bright light around me while I'm walking through, and I'm like, I'm fine, I'm safe, nothing can touch me. And they would give you warnings like, I just want to let you know, if you see this, something might follow you home. Like, and they'll tell you like, if it's really really haunted or extremely demonic, like there's options, like you can wait outside the rooms, you don't have to go in. Me being me, I went into them, and my wife stayed outside. She refused to go in the doll room, like, and look at all the dolls. She like closed her eyes the whole time because she has like this weird thing about dolls. I went and saw the Dybbuk box. I had to, but then I got such a creepy, eerie feeling when I was in there. I started pulling out all of the change in my pocket, and like, they have a whole offering table. And you're like, sorry, thank you for letting me check you out,
Yeah.
and having a look, but you have to stay here, and here's my offering. And I just like left a whole bunch of change on the table. There was like one part where I felt so dizzy and lightheaded, and I'm not really good with the movies, so don't scold me, but I think it was like, I could be wrong, but it was like a part of the car from like Fast and Furious, maybe. And they're saying it like was haunted because it killed, I can't remember that guy's name. Like, it's just like so many terrible things happened, and people thought like part of that vehicle was like haunted.
Oh wow.
And that's like where I felt like the worst in that room. Of course, I can't show you or anything. I don't have any pictures, but this is the only thing I have to show that I went. So my Zach Bagans Museum shirt.
Still
And
really
my
cool.
ticket. My ticket's in my ancestor bathroom downstairs.
You went to the haunted museum and all you got was this t-shirt and the 5,000-year-old dark spirit attached to you for the rest of your life.
Oh my God, I don't claim that. But it is very eerie in there. There were people that like, so this girl brought her service dog in, right? And we only get into the first room, and that's kind of the rooms, like if you'll watch like Sam and Colby's videos, or is it T-Fal or T-Phil, like when they went and they did it, you'll see those rooms, but sometimes you don't always get to see all of them. The girl had her service dog, and they start doing the tour, and the dog starts vomiting all over the carpet, and the girl had to leave. Like, her service dog was literally throwing
Oh
up
my
everywhere
God.
in the museum, and they had to leave. So I'm like, oh my God, like, why is that? Like, Like, it's
Jeez.
weird that the dog was throwing up the second it got in there. And they're like service dogs, so you know what I mean? They're like trained to.
Yeah.
It was weird. And I was like, if this is gonna show us how the night's gonna go.
Right? Oh my gosh. That's still a crazy
But
story. That's awesome.
See, that's one thing that pisses those things that bother animals. It's like, out of all things you could do, you're gonna make a service dog like throw up everywhere. Like, you're a piece of shit. This is where I wish those things were like physical and not spiritual. It's like I would deck you across the face if I could.
Oh, like you decked the Minotaur in your dream that one time? That was like an evil
Oh
spirit?
yeah. I'll tell you that story offline, Bekah. It's kind of creepy too. I think it's safe to say nothing followed you there.
knock on wood.
Good. Yeah.
I'm superstitious. Yeah, I don't claim any of that. I left my pennies and my nickels and dimes on the table.
Hey, anything to keep yourself safe, right?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a place I would like to go and see. I mean, maybe I'll watch a video of it or something like that, but I don't have any interest of, going in there. Because I think just curating all of those items, whether they're haunted or not, depending on what they are, energy like can stick to
Yeah.
items. And I think if you collect all these items with negative energy, you're just asking for trouble. And you
Oh
could
yeah.
manifest stuff that you don't expect.
Yeah. And they also had like people were allegedly like offed in the house and had satanic rituals in the basement. So it wasn't so like he went and bought this property with all of this like demonic energy and then put things inside of the house as well. It's just crazy.
This has been great. I'm so glad we brought you on for a part 2. Maybe it'll be time for a part 3 soon. It's we got a lot more to unpack.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, thank you for agreeing to come on again, Bekah. Again, it's been a pleasure to have you on for a second time. We would love to have you back on for a part 3. You're always welcome on the show. I think we have some good conversations. And I think we have quite a few more topics in common that we could have some discussions about. So be looking forward to that. But before we close out, Bekah, why don't you share where the listeners and viewers can reach you and find your content?
Yep. So all my social media on TikTok, Instagram, and over on YouTube are at ThirdeyeBekah, and Bekah is Bekah.
You've reached the end of tonight's journey on the Wandering Road. The show is written and produced by me, Chris, and my co-host, Dean. If you've got a scary story of your own, or if you'd like to join us as a guest, send your tale to twroadpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to follow us on social media for more haunted fun. And if you enjoyed tonight's episode, please rate, review, and share the show. It helps keep the lantern burning for fellow travelers. Until next time, keep your eyes on the road and your mind in the shadows, because the wandering never ends.